Welcome back to episode 3 of the Oceanside Sports Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Spotify at Oceanside Sports.
We're going to be talking about some NBA today. Some big news. Russell Westbrook has broken the triple-double record, previously held by...
As expected.
Yeah, previously held by Oscar Robertson. However, the Wizards lost by 1 today to the Atlanta Hawks. So that's a big implication on the playoff race in your Knicks.
Yeah, if the Hawks would have lost this one, Knicks would have secured up the 4th seed.
Right. So Knicks still have a chance to secure the 4th seed. Jaylen Brown out for the season, the big hit for the Celtics. So now Miami kind of moves above them in our rankings, I guess, for the playoffs. And
Celtics have been a team lately that they've disappointed all season, and losing Jaylen Brown really, really hurts them.
Yeah, definitely. So here we see more of the news. Bradley Beal is going to be out one more game. Washington still holds the 9 seed. This one, I didn't really know. Luka is one technical foul shy of a ban, which we saw with Draymond Green a few years ago when the Warriors lost, when the Cavs came back from down 3-1. The Lakers defeated the Suns a couple days ago. That was a terrible game by Phoenix. I watched the whole game. Hate to see it. However, the Jazz lost today to the Warriors. So that means that the Suns are still only 2 games back with the tiebreaker. Heat defeated the Celtics a few days ago. That was a big game. Heat have the tiebreaker now. If they win tomorrow, I believe they play again. Tuesday, a few big games. Then we already went through the rest of that news. So, Ryan, how do you feel about the 1 seed out west? Who do you think is going to clinch it?
I think it's a shoo-in for Utah. The surprise team of the year, probably next to the Suns, but the Jazz have been dominant. I don't see them losing to any team remaining, obviously except the Warriors. But I think Utah goes 3-0 here, and then they end up winning, getting number 1 out west.
Right. The problem as a Suns fan is obviously Utah lost the Warriors a few hours ago, but the Blazers is the only game on during the rest of their schedule that really they're going to have trouble with, and they're at home. The Thunder, they're going to have no problems, and same as Sacramento. However, the Suns, they're playing, all 3 teams have major implications on the line. The Warriors, Blazers, and Spurs all want to avoid that play-in game or get into the play-in game. So as I sadly think Utah is going to get the 1 seed, and the Suns are easily going to get that 2 seed. But nonetheless, great season from both teams.
I do think the Suns will end up splitting one of those games with the Spurs.
Right. I do agree with you. They're both going to be away from home, so I do think
maybe that last game if they don't have 1 seed clinch, they'll just kind of rest up their starters.
Totally agree with you there. Yeah. So here's the rest of the Western Conference. We see the Dallas Mavericks at the 5 seed, Nuggets 4 seed, Clippers 3 seed. No one's really going to catch the top 2, the Suns and the Jazz. But can you see the Blazers overtaking the Mavericks?
I'd say we have a better chance of the Lakers taking over the Blazers than the Blazers have of taking over the Mavericks.
What about without LeBron?
Because
let's say LeBron.
Well, everyone's saying LeBron's back for next game against the Knicks. So
yeah,
it looks like the Lakers will have LeBron for the remaining 4 games of the year.
Right.
But what do you think? Do you think that there's any chance that the Blazers will overtake the Mavericks?
I think the Blazers down the stretch are going to be better than the Dallas Mavericks. I think Luka can only do so much, and I think with CJ, with the new addition of Norman Powell, and then obviously Damian Lillard, I think the Blazers are a more complete team than Dallas. So I think they do have a chance to overtake them. But however, I think playing the Clippers or the Nuggets, I think talent-wise they're very similar, even without Jamal Murray. I think the Nuggets are a better playoff team. So
you think the Jokester is going to have a chance to take over the Clippers for 3 seed?
It's tough to say. They're game back. I would love to see that. However, I really want to see a Clippers Mavericks rematch because you remember what happened in the bubble last year
Of course,
when Luka.
probably the highlight of the bubble, in my opinion.
Well, Devin Booker shot over Paul George.
No,
I'd say both those were highlights of the bubble, but I would love to see a rematch of that game. And I think Blazers Nuggets is a series that would be really interesting. 7-game series. You got Jokic against Yusuf Nurkic. There's no Jamal Murray anymore, but you got Michael Porter against the 2 scoring guards for the Blazers. And then looking at below that, you got the Lakers, who supposedly they're going to have Anthony Davis and LeBron back on the floor. We'll see what happens with Kyle Kuzma. He was out against the Suns. What do you see through 7 through 10 or 11?
7 through 11. I don't think Zion and the Pelicans will be able to get it done. I think they're gone. I don't think the Spurs are going to be able to do
Zion's
anything.
Out right now, so
I still say Zion and the Pelicans,
right? Because
he's their face.
And without Zion, they're really nothing.
They're nothing. And I don't think the Spurs are to anyone, even in the play-in. I think if Curry can continue over his role and drop in these 40+ point games, it wouldn't shock me if they gave the Jazz a run for their money.
I wouldn't be surprised if they gave the Suns, the Jazz, the Clippers, anyone a run for their money, because that's how good Curry's playing.
You can't count out Curry, and you just can't count out Curry. He's that good.
He's the best shooter.
Other than that, of course, guaranteed. I saw the stat today. He's like 40-something or whatever, threes away, but has played 400 less games than Ray Allen.
Yeah, I saw it as well. It's the stats.
He's just insane, undebatable. And then last question of the West. Do you think the LeBron healthy Lakers will be scary? He's LeBron. You can't count him out.
I watched the game the other day, and they came out with total aggression. This is without LeBron and Kuzma, and without Dennis Schroeder. So Caruso played with aggression. Anthony Davis dropped 40+ points.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Lakers run into problems when they play a team like Denver, for instance, who moves the ball very well.
And Denver's a tough team to play, no matter no matter what.
Yeah, definitely. The thing with the Lakers is, can the Lakers stay healthy for a 7-game series? I don't know. This year they've been.
I don't think so.
Really banged up. Anthony Davis, for some reason, he's always on the floor. He's always on the floor when you're watching, and then he just pops right back up. But he's not smart with the way he falls, the way he draws contact. I don't know. I mean, I don't like the Lakers personally because of the fans. I'm just not a big. Of course, I live in LA, but I'm a Suns fan that lives in LA. I can't like the Lakers.
Who knows? I feel like the Lakers, they're not even guaranteed that 7 spot for the actual playoffs. They're not even guaranteed that win for the play-in game.
But then again, I've seen people place bets on the Lakers to win the championship this year right now because it's LeBron and Anthony Davis. It's hard to bet against them. So
that's true, but I don't think they are. Their depth isn't great, and with their good depth players being out right now, it's not looking good.
Right, and the West is tough. We always know that. So the Blazers won today against the Rockets, so that game's out of the way. Let's go. So now you see the Blazers are a game back of the Mavericks. The Lakers are a game back of the Blazers. So now with that being said, here's the remaining schedule. Lakers get your Knicks, I believe tomorrow, is it?
Tomorrow.
I think it's tomorrow, yeah. And then the last 3 games are fairly easy for the Lakers. Blazers end tough. They end Jazz, Suns, Nuggets. How do you think the Blazers will finish those last 3 games?
I think there's a good chance they go 0-3.
Wow.
But I think they might pull one out. I think you can't count out Dame, so maybe 1-2. Maybe they take one against the Nuggets.
Right, I can see that. I think if they lose both away games, that they have to take the last home game. So
Mavericks, on the other hand, I feel like if you're a Mavericks fan and you're looking at their schedule, you're happy.
Oh, you're feeling great because those are 4 very winnable games. The bottom 3 teams on that list are not the Pelicans, Raptors, and Wolves. Just they have nothing to play for anymore.
These West teams are fighting for different seeds, or in different positions, like for teams in the East who have very tough remaining 3 to 4 games.
Right. I think
We'll get into that later.
I think the biggest game on this page right here is Lakers against Knicks. I mean, I know you're biased because you're obviously looking at that game, but they have the same exact record. Knicks are the 4 seed in the East. Lakers are currently the 7 seed in the West. These are two massive games because the Hawks can overtake the Knicks. The Lakers they might have to play in that dreaded
a loss by the Knicks put the Knicks and the Hawks at a dead tie.
Right, exactly. And then the Heat are probably going to win against the Celtics as well without Brown. So if you're a Knicks fan, you really you need that game.
Well, we had a 6-game road trip, and going from a Knicks fan perspective, we wanted to go with 3-3, and we're 3-2 now with that huge win against the Clippers. Right. And coming off that win against the Clippers on the night where our star was being double teamed by Kawhi and Paul George, you're happy that we were still able to come out with a W. And I think that we have a really good chance of winning tomorrow. And if we win tomorrow, that's 4-2 on a really tough road trip. And that's probably guaranteed 4 seed for the Knicks if they can win tomorrow.
Right. I think the key to the Knicks...
the Lakers are put in a bad spot because of their situation at 7 seed. And they probably lose some momentum to try and get into that 6 seed.
Right. I think if you're a Knicks fan, I don't think LeBron's going to play 30 minutes tomorrow or 35 minutes tomorrow. So when LeBron's off the court, you have to hope, the second unit, if they put Quickly in there, if they put, Reggie
D-Rose has been insane, but Quickly has also been Quickly has been out for the past couple of games.
Yeah, what they do there. Yeah, whoever you put in your second unit, they have to perform because LeBron's probably going to beat up on them for the first team.
I don't know. We are a very good defensive team.
That's true. I wonder what the under is in that game, but that's probably what a lot of people are placing their money on. We go to the East now. We've been talking about it. Knicks, Hawks, and Heat. Those 3 teams are right in the mix for the 4, 5, and 6 seed. So we'll see who gets home court advantage after the season wraps up.
I actually don't know this, but who has the tiebreaker between the Knicks and the Hawks? It's the Knicks, isn't it?
I believe so. Let me try and look it up. You go through the bottom 4 teams between the Celtics, Hornets, Wizards, and Pacers. The Bulls are pretty much out of it.
All right. Yeah, we'll follow in the Heat. We have the Celtics, who are probably your best chance of getting 6 seed, but after the Brown injury, they're probably shoe-in 7 seed. Then you got the Rookie of the Year led Hornets at 33 and 35, who are also 2 games out. They'll probably sit around 8 seed. They could fall to 9 to the Wizards, who, although have 2 of the best players in the league, still can't manage to win games, and that's been a common theme for them all year. Westbrook breaking the triple-double record while looking for.
I just don't understand how Beal and Westbrook combined for 83 points the other night. This is not tonight. This was
and lose.
Well, they only won by 1 or 2 the other night, and they combined for 83. And then tonight, Westbrook goes for 21 assists, triple-double, whatever, and they lose by 1.
I'll tell you why.
Why?
The Russell Westbrook effect.
That's
Russell Westbrook can't lead a team to win.
I had a friend today, and he doesn't know much about basketball. And I told him, Westbrook broke the triple-double record. Westbrook dropped 21 assists. And he says to me, he's like, how are none of his teams going to the finals? How are none of his teams a top 3 seed in the conference? It has to be him.
It is him. I've talked about this with people all the time. Look at him and look at Chris Paul. Just this year.
Right.
This year. We don't even talk about history. What has Chris Paul done to the Suns franchise? He's transformed them. They
completely turned it around. The
top
culture.
3 team in the league now because of how he leads, how he plays. Don't get me wrong. Westbrook's probably the most athletic player in NBA history. He is inhuman. He's very talented, but he just can't lead his team to wins. And I don't know what it is. Honestly, I don't know the key. I can't give you.
You can't
a
place your
answer.
Right. And I know we're not the type of people to sit here and be like, it's this and this and this, because I honestly don't know. His attitude looks fine. He's dropping 21.
He's very competitive. He's into it. He wants to win. He's hungry. Right. He's talented.
And to your Chris Paul point, when Chris Paul went to the Thunder and then to the Suns, they went from a very mediocre team to a consistent playoff team, right?
Mhm.
Bradley Beal on the Wizards was a constant 8, 9, 10 seed. Am I right?
His entire career.
Then you add Westbrook, and what are they sitting at? The 9 seed. So
Exactly.
it just
They
proves
even drop a little bit.
exactly. So I don't understand if it's the lack of chemistry there right
I mean,
now, but
you've given Westbrook as many options and weapons as he's wanted.
Mhm.
And the 1 year where the years where he wasn't your leader were the best teams he's been on. When
Right.
Kevin Durant was leading the Thunder with Russell Westbrook at his side, they were very scary.
Right. And then you give him Paul
And
George, and nothing
and then
came
you
out of
give
that.
Westbrook a team to lead. You give Westbrook the keys to success, and he just isn't. He can't perform.
Right.
And it's not like he's supposed to on the Wizards this year. It's just another example of what's happening with he whenever he's paired up with another superstar.
it's really sad because, I mean, if you were to take Westbrook's stats and let's say he would have won a couple rings, that's an insane player. That could be a top
That's
15
like a
player.
top 5 point guard.
That's a top 5 point guard ever. But no one's ever gonna think of Westbrook as a top 5 point guard ever. He just doesn't have the accolades. He doesn't have the wins. That's why he doesn't
I
have
don't
the
think
wins.
he's going to retire without a ring.
And at the end of the day, I believe wins are the most important thing.
I think
Wins.
basketball is one of the few sports where wins and accolades are very important in how you determine a career.
Right.
Unlike baseball, unlike even hockey,
You could say football. Think about Drew
even
Brees
football too. Yeah,
or
exactly.
Philip Rivers.
But I feel like basketball is a sport because basketball is a sport where you can have one player carry a team. We saw that with
LeBron.
LeBron James in his first ring in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Basketball is a sport where you need one or two people to carry a team. Every other sport you can think of other than individual sports, you need a whole team, a functioning system, a great coach.
That's true.
But because basketball is not like that,
Not at all.
stats and success is key. And to your point, Westbrook doesn't have that.
Right. No. That's a very good point. And as I go back to the standings, obviously the Celtics are sitting at the 7th seed. I can't see them going getting out of that playing game. That's
No shot.
definitely going to happen. I think those bottom 4 teams, the Celtics, Hornets, Wizards, and Pacers, that's pretty much set. Just not the order, obviously.
I'd say the only order change that could happen would be maybe the Pacers and Wizards. Yeah, I mentioned earlier the Hornets and Wizards.
Yeah. No,
the Wizards they're just a wild card. Let's be honest, they're just a wild card.
That's a good point. But yeah, those 4 teams are pretty much in. These are my predictions. I'll have you add to them after I give mine. But out west, I have the Lakers against the Warriors in the 7-8, and the Grizzlies, Spurs in the 9-10. So how it's going to work is, I believe the loser of the 7-8 gets another chance to play the winner of the 9 and 10 to get that 8 seed.
So I have the format. Your 7 and 8 seed, they're going to play, and the winner of that gets their spot. But the loser has a second chance.
Right.
The loser, they play the winner of the 9 and 10 seed.
Right. Okay. So I think I get my predictions later, but what I said is I actually have the Warriors beating the Lakers. I think Curry's that hot.
I would actually agree with you on this one.
I appreciate that, my friend. But I have the Warriors beating the Lakers, which is probably not a common pick because it's Curry against the world right now.
I'll jump on that bandwagon.
What's that?
I'll jump on that Curry bandwagon. I believe in him.
I totally agree. He's super hot right now. You got to ride that. And then Grizzlies Spurs. That one's tough.
The game doesn't even matter.
Because whoever loses that game between the Lakers and Warriors, I think it's going to blow them out. They're going to blow them out.
Yeah, it's no matter what. I feel like your 7 and 8 seeds in the West are going to be your actual 7-8 seeds.
Now we go to the East, which these are toss-ups. These are toss-ups, Ryan.
Completely.
And this is not going to be a common pick, but I have the 7 seed Celtics taking on the 8 seed Wizards. Here, believe it or not, I have the Wizards beating the Celtics because I think Jaylen Brown is more important to that team than Jason Tatum.
That's a hot take.
It is, but that's what I think. Jason Tatum is the best scorer on the team. He's one of the best young scorers in the league. I'd put him along with Mitchell and Booker. But
I will tell you. I will tell you
Mhm.
this. I did watch the second half and the second quarter of the Celtics and Heat game on
Right.
Mother's Day because we were at the restaurant and it was
Mhm.
playing. Great Mother's Day, but the game was going on and Heat they were blowing them out.
I remember.
They were blowing them out, and then the Celtics they really feel like they finally found their identity for a good 10-minute period
Mm.
where they came back. They went on like a 14-0 run. They made it a 5-point game in a game where they're losing by like 21. They still ended up losing, but it showed me the fire that the Celtics have been missing all season. And I was like, oh, this team's getting it together. But it could have been also the Heat crumbling. But
Yeah.
I think the Celtics with Jason Tatum, if Jason Tatum is taking on that leading role, even now with Brown, he's gonna have to step up. Brown out, he's gonna have to step up even more. The Celtics
I
could
think
be a solid team. They're not
I
going to
think
be the years they have been prior, but
I think on the defensive end, Jaylen Brown is just so good on defense.
well, yes, of course, he's
He can
probably a
guard
top
1 through
defender in the
4.
league.
He can guard point guard through power forward, and so that's massive. And I think the Wizards can drop 120, 130 on the Celtics easy.
Yeah,
And the Hornets Pacers, I love the Pacers. I love their guard TJ McConnell. He doesn't get enough love,
don't
but
forget the bonus.
and Sabonis, they're both great on defense. The Hornets are going to win this game, and the Hornets are going to beat the Celtics to sneak into the playoffs. LaMelo Ball will sneak this team into the playoffs as an 8 seed through the playing game, beat the Pacers and beat the Celtics. Kemba Walker will get beat by his replacement in LaMelo Ball. That's my pick.
That'd be like a story right there.
Definitely, and
I think I'm gonna disagree with you on this one.
that's fair.
I think the Hornets will actually follow the Pacers.
Why is that?
I feel like the Pacers they're slept on.
The
Like
Pacers are slept on, but Ryan, how are they a 9 and 10 seed this season? That's my question.
I mean,
I don't
the
understand.
Hornets aren't they're not. The East has been
No,
horrible
the
this year.
the Hornets don't have a deep team, but somehow they're the 8 seed right now. So
But you're telling me that someone on the Pacers can't catch a hot streak and just take over?
the only problem with me picking the Hornets over them is that the Hornets they don't have anyone to guard Sabonis. So if Sabonis gets hot, this pick can go into the garbage. However, if the Hornets can contain Sabonis, I think that this is going to be a low. If the Hornets contain Sabonis and limit the Pacers to on offense, the Hornets have a real chance of beating them.
I would agree. I think the game's gonna be close. I think it could go either way. I'd say Pacers, and then the Pacers falling to the Celtics.
Right.
I
So
think the Wizards will also beat the Celtics.
all right. So we're on the same page there. But I'm picking the Hornets to upset the Pacers and Celtics in that
You
one.
also have them sneaking in.
Yeah. So these odds obviously are shifting across the board, but give me your MVP pick right now.
The jokester.
I would agree. I think everyone agrees. Steph Curry, I mean, it's tough not to give him the MVP though.
I feel like the only reason Curry is not winning it is because he was injured for a good
Not only
handful
because
of the
he's
season.
injured, but if you're not averaging a triple double, it's tough to give the MVP to someone who's in the 8 or 9 seed, you know?
That's true, exactly.
So we both agree Jokic is the consensus unanimous MVP. Moving down to rookie of the year, I've seen LaMelo Ball at like runaway odds, and I've seen LaMelo Ball as the third highest odds to get this award. So do you think Edwards or Ball should get it?
This is a really good question.
Honestly, I don't.
I'm gonna give it to Ball.
You should not be taking this much time with it. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Ball. I mean, I don't know how you can't not give it to him.
It 1000% should go to LaMelo Ball. He has taken the Hornets to the second pick in the draft to a playing game as an 8 or 9
And
seed.
he's
Or
also
whatever.
excited at his announcers.
The Hornets announcers have turned into the best in the league. So I think there's no thinking in this. LaMelo Ball deserves this award 1,000%. Anthony Edwards and the Wolves are in the 14th or 15th spot in the West. Not even a competition. LaMelo deserves it. Coach of the
Easily.
year.
And this is going to be the debate of the night.
Coach of the year, give me your pick. I know your pick, but give me your pick.
Tom Thibodeau
All right. I love
the New
this.
York Knicks.
And give me a reason.
Listen. This is unfortunate that the top two we're both biased with.
Yes.
Thibodeau with the Giants and Monty. Well, Giants, wow. Thibodeau with the Knicks and Monty with your Suns.
Yeah.
The reason I don't think Monty should get it. Yes, the Suns have been transformed into a top 3 team in the league, which is incredible. Incredible. Don't get me wrong. It's crazy.
Thank you, Ryan.
But you tell me that on paper, going into the year, this team wasn't supposed to be good. Tell me that. You have DeAndre Ayton, who's been improving. Devin Booker is a superstar. Chris Paul, who's a leader and role player.
Well, we were not supposed to have the second best record in the league.
That's very true. But tell me on paper, were you supposed, yes or no, supposed to be a top 5 in the West Conference?
Honestly, we were like a 7-ish, 6, 7-ish. I know some people had us higher, but I think the average would have been 5 or 6, to be fair to you.
Okay. Now you sit here and tell me what you thought going into the season the Knicks would be. Where would they be?
I have it on my. I made a list on my phone. I gotta look at the predictions. I'm
gonna make it easy. Okay. I'm gonna make it easy.
I had Phoenix at 6. No, I have it. I have Phoenix at 6, and I had the Knicks at 12.
12. Okay.
12. Yeah.
So 12 is pretty low.
12 is very low. And
now,
right
Jane,
now.
tell me what seed are they right now?
They're the 4 seed at the moment.
4th seed, behind the Bucks.
Behind the Bucks, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but going into the year, would you say that the Knicks had a superstar or even a star player on their team?
No, because as you see below our Coach of the Year thing, Randall's going to win the Most Improved. So exactly. Randall's developed into a star, yeah.
What made Thibodeau, I think what makes him the Coach of the Year is that he's put together an incredible system that fits the New York Knicks. If Thibodeau went and used his system in any other team, it wouldn't work. But the way he's been utilizing everyone on the team, from our number 1 Randall to Frank Ntilikina, is playing 3 to 4 minutes a game.
Right.
Everything works. Randall has improved. He's the most improved player, probably number 5 and 6 on your MVP list even.
Mm-hmm.
You have our first round pick last year in RJ Barrett, who is improved immensely, shooting 40% from 3, averaging 20 or 18. But this team, what makes it so interesting and so fun to watch is that Thibodeau has coached this team to win. And a New York Knicks team who wasn't supposed to win this year, I don't know how to explain it, but Thibodeau deserves this award because of how he's coached this team into winning. A team that wasn't supposed to even be in the playoff conversation. But look at us now. We're talking about having home court advantage in the first round.
Right. It's nothing anyone would have expected at the beginning of the year.
Not to mention before you go on and defend Monty. But the Knicks have made themselves a team that people want to play for. What did Zion say just last week? You
want to play for and don't want to play against. I think that's the key.
Exactly. The Knicks are they still number 1 defense? They might be number 2 now.
They're top 3 for sure.
They're top 3 defensive team. Who would have thought? Our offense could still need some work, but also we're playing in an era now where people want to play for the Knicks, and for a team that has a lot of cap space for these next couple off seasons, there's going to be free agents that want to play in New York in Madison Square Garden, and the culture change is crazy.
Yes, Monty, you sound like such a Knicks fan. I ask you why he deserves Coach of the Year, and you start going on about free agency. That's what 90% of Knicks fans would say. You make very good points. Before I start talking about Monty, I think you can't go wrong with whoever wins. Whoever wins win. I mean, these two guys are neck and neck.
No matter what, there's going to be a coach that gets snubbed.
Exactly. And Quinn Snyder's sitting there as well from Utah.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to probably end with the best record in the league.
When's the last time we had a coach like Quinn Snyder, number one in the league, not win Coach of the Year?
Exactly. That's a very good point as well. Normally, it's just the best record. Everything you said it's hard to debate. I'm not gonna lie.
I just think that because the Knicks took such a huge jump,
right,
they deserve it.
So we can agree the Suns took a huge jump as well.
Completely.
Here's where I become a bit biased, but then again, you can't take away what happened in the bubble.
No, not at all. I think the bubble Suns were the most exciting story.
And also, I feel like the bubble somewhat translated into this season. And I know that was considered last season, but there's something about the Suns that they have the same mindset, the same aspirations. When they went 8-0 and Monty talked in the locker room, he said, "I don't know if we're gonna go on to the actual playoffs last year. We ended up not going because I think Portland won the last game. But he said, I don't care if we go. We have completely shifted Phoenix basketball culture." And he's taken that, and this year he's done what no one would have expected, even with CP3, Ryan, even with Devin.
That's true. And for both of these teams, it's going to be their first playoff experience since 2012.
For us, it's 2010 or 11. It's been over a decade.
Oh, really?
A decade. So, I mean, to bring a Phoenix Suns team with a crap owner, with a terrible history, we've never won anything. We went when
history
Jordan was there.
with only one player, Steve Nash,
and Charles Barkley, but
of course, Charles Barkley.
Two players, maybe Amari Stoudemire, but we both had Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah.
So I just think what happened in the bubble last year, and then to translate that to this season and go 50 and whatever we're going to go, have over 50 wins, it's unbelievable what Monty's done. However, you can't take away what Thibodeau's done for the New York Knicks and bringing great basketball back to the city.
I also just think that Thibodeau's coaching, purely coaching,
right?
Thibodeau's out-coached Monty.
Out-coached Monty.
Purely coaching.
I guess,
but the game plan strategy favors Thibodeau in the sense that Thibodeau had to construct around a not very skilled team going into the year.
Okay.
And Williams had a lot of weapons, not a lot, but he had a good amount of weapons to work with.
I mean,
and he could rely on his players putting up 25 points a night.
That's true. You can, but then again, you ended up you could rely on Julius Randle for that as well.
But who going into the season though? Who thought that Randle would be a superstar?
Right. That's a good point. Then again, the Knicks are 38-30, and the Suns are going to have over 50 wins. So
of course, at the end of the day, great coaching from both these men.
And I do agree the Suns are a bit more talented. That we can agree on.
Yes. Let us know who you think should be coach of the year.
Well, I forgot that we should let people have a voice and not just us two.
Of course, we'll put a poll up on our Instagram for you guys to decide the.
We'll do a poll. We'll do a poll, and you guys put in the comments. So, moving on to most improved, Randall by far is going to win that. We can agree.
There's no conversation. We can move on to the
Jeremy Grant is in number 2, but he's not going to win it. So, defense player of the year, it's really between Gobert and Simmons because Miles Turner missed time. Who do you like there?
At the end of the day, I feel like with two men who are just scary to play against defense, like if you're going up against Rudy Gobert in the paint or you're going to get Ben Simmons in the perimeter, you just don't want to face them.
Did you see that Gobert? Sorry for interrupting, but did you see that Gobert video? I saw this like a few days ago, and three guys on the San Antonio Spurs drove into the lane and then just backed it out because Gobert was in.
Yeah, I saw that. It's awesome.
That was awesome.
But I think with these two guys who do play different positions, you don't see guards usually win this award. You go to the team that's been more successful defensively and overall, which is the Jazz. So I do give the edge to Gobert there, and that's why.
I would agree. I mean, Gobert's presence is just immense in the middle of the paint.
But
I love Simmons though on defense.
I think Simmons will win one in his career.
Oh yeah, for sure. Simmons has to win one. I think if it's like, and honestly, this could go to Simmons because Gobert's won it in the past. So
Hmm
this could be one of those awards that they're going to kind of shift the way they're viewing giving out this award. They're going to make guards and forwards equal, but we'll see. I have Gobert in this as well if I were to pick one.
You know what name we haven't talked about at all yet?
Who?
The reigning MVP. You've just been such. I haven't heard news
Wait,
about Giannis.
Giannis, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard news about Giannis in months.
I haven't heard news about the Bucks in months. The Bucks are
That's what I'm saying.
well, the
Like,
Bucks because everyone knows the Bucks finish as the top 2 seed in the East. They go to the conference finals or the semis, and they blow it. They're not a
exactly.
playoff
It's just
team.
it's
They're not
interesting.
built for the playoffs. And hot take here, if the Bucks don't get past the conference semis, Budenholzer still their head coach? I think he is.
Mm-hmm. He will be done. I agree.
See ya.
Yeah.
There's too much talent on that team. Here we go with the MVP ladder. Explain to me your order and why.
All right, I'll go Jokic because I think self-explanatory. He's been probably the most dominant player in the league this year. Embiid, honestly, a close second in numbers, like when you're comparing numbers. But I just think Jokic has been the scarier player, and he's been more important to the Nuggets than Embiid has to the 76ers. But Embiid's still your clear-cut number 2. And when's the last time we've seen 2 centers like top the board?
I actually would want to look that up. It hasn't been for a long time.
That's what I'm saying. Followed by Curry. I love Curry. I'm looking at your list too, and I like Curry at 2. I might even make a little decision to switch that. But
Yeah, I mean,
Curry's
honestly,
been
there's of course you're not supposed to be biased in the playoffs, but there's going to be a lot of talk in the playoffs. If Curry somehow gets this Warriors team into the playoffs after the playing games, there's going to be talk of him shooting up the leaderboard.
I think the only thing holding Curry back is the amount of games he's played. If
Yeah.
Curry played a full season, he might be your MVP, especially with no Clay and yeah. But followed by only reason I'm still going Harden is because of how important and dominant he's been with the Nets. I know you're not happy about that. That's fine. Especially with that Nets team is just stacked.
Yeah.
But Harden's been great. I like Harden a lot. I hope the best for him. If the Nets end up making the NBA Finals, I will be rooting for them. I hope they get one. And then followed by Chris Paul. And I know you think Chris Paul deserves to be a little higher. I think Paul is your top 5 MVP candidate because of how important and how amazing he's been for the Suns.
I don't mind your list at all. I don't mind Paul at 5. I have no problem with that. Harden at 4 bugs me a bit because the Nets have so many pieces, and I feel
I understand that. But that's like
and also he's
like taking away Curry's MVPs because it's the supporting cast.
Yeah, I see that, but then again, Curry played at least 70 out of the 82 games in those seasons where Harden hasn't played that much. And if it's hard to give someone the MVP when they switch teams mid-season, which is kind of what Harden did.
Definitely.
Well, and obviously Harden's not going to get the MVP, but just where you have him on your rankings, I have him more like at a 7 or 8 spot. So I agree, Jokic, Embiid, Curry. I'll just throw those 3 out there because those are our top 3 by far. Then I have Chris Paul 1 slot ahead of you. And then at number 5, I put these guys in because I think they're tied for 5. Julius Randle, who I'm surprised wasn't on your list for James Harden.
I wasn't going to do Randle because I felt like that was kind of biased.
I don't think so at all. I think, honestly, people might think this is crazy, but I think Randle's a top 6 MVP candidate.
I would agree.
Truly.
It would be interesting to see if this was an 82-game season and if the Knicks were to take 3 seed over the Bucks, what that would do to his MVP ranking.
Yeah, that's true. And
if you go to a top 3 in the East, which isn't the strongest conference, of course, but it would have been interesting to see how they would have ranked Randle. But here we are in a short season.
Again, maybe to your Thibodeau point about Coach of the Year, maybe he's planned for this 72 3-ish game season and really just drilled defense into his
Hmm.
players because he knew that
Hmm.
there's not a full season. And then
Maybe
I think Donovan Mitchell has to be top 5 or 6 because
he
he's the best record in the league.
Mitchell's my number 6.
That's fair. We both don't have Giannis, which it's it's tough to give someone an MVP nod 3 times in a row,
Yeah,
especially when they're top
unless
2
you're a
seed.
player that's like absolutely dominating the league.
Michael
Like
Jordan.
we're talking, yeah, of course, but it's just tough to give you 3 in a row, especially with voters that are going to not want to vote you multiple times in a row.
Right. So we'll move on to the final standings prediction. Jazz, Suns, Clippers, Nuggets, Blazers, Mavs. Those round out my top 6 in the West. Tell me if you agree, disagree, what would you change? Go on.
Honestly, I'm fine with keeping that.
Right. I think Mavericks
Yeah,
and Blazers, whatever, they might flip, but then again, I want to see the Mavs versus Clippers matchup, like I told you earlier.
yeah, I'd be fine with that just because I would like to see that rematch as well.
Right. Then are my first round games Jazz versus Lakers. That would be pretty insane. Suns versus
I
Warriors. Would they
I
play?
have I have the Jazz in 5 if that was really the matchup.
Right. I would. Wow. And 5. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Okay. Not even close. Then Warriors Suns. I mean, yeah, Warriors Suns would be interesting. Then Clippers Mavericks rematch of last year. I really want to see that.
mm,
And Nuggets Blazers at the 4-5. It's gonna be a very good series now that, or not now that Jamal Murray's out. I wish Jamal Murray was playing, but with Jamal Murray out, that's a very even series.
mm,
Uh,
sure.
do, do you have anything to add for that, or you? We'll see what happens. I guess it's pretty
Um,
hypothetical.
well, nothing really much to elaborate. We'll go over our predictions for the playoffs before they start in the next
Yeah.
episode, which will be pretty soon. But I'm excited to see how the West turns out. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of shakeup though, like you said.
Right. Then the East for my prediction, Sixers take the top seed. I think the Bucks overtake the Nets. I think Giannis finished out
That
the
one.
season strong.
I would have also I would have put the Bucks 2 as well.
Right. Nets get the 3 seed. Knicks are gonna stick with the 4 seed, I think. Heat 5, Hawks drop to 6. Then first round games, Sixers versus Hornets. That's my upset. I have that in there. I can't see the Hornets going past this first round game,
No
but
shot.
I think that's awesome if they were to be able to get in for Michael Jordan as the owner and LaMelo Ball as a rookie. Bucks versus Wizards, Giannis against Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. Those are going to be some high scoring games if that
Mm.
happens. Nets versus Hawks. Nets could sweep the Hawks, I think. And then Knicks versus Heat. That is a series and a half.
I wouldn't want to face the Heat.
Would you rather face the Heat or Hawks?
Oh, the Hawks.
I agree
Yeah.
with you 100%. I don't want to see Jimmy Butler in the playoffs at all.
Nope. I would like to avoid them as much as possible. But then again,
Mm.
we'll go into it later more in detail. But the Knicks are a much better team at home, and if they can stick with the 4 seed and have home court, it would be
I think
that's like the whole game switch.
I think 4 seed's massive because you get the first 2 games at home in the first
You know what I'm
round.
saying?
That's huge. I wanted to add 2 more questions before we wrap it up. I know it's a shorter episode today. Or actually, I'm just gonna ask you one more question because I think we can elaborate on this more. What NBA Finals matchup do you want to see the most?
Ooh.
And
It's
you
tough
can pick
not to say.
if the
But
Knicks. Let's say you say one of them being the Knicks and one of them not being the Knicks. Who do you want to see the
okay,
Knicks play?
I think it would be really cool to see Knicks and Suns, honestly, because if
I
two
agree.
teams that just haven't been good in a long time, surprising everyone, that'd be cool to see. Do I think the Knicks are going to make it out of the second round? No, not at all. But
If they play the Heat, I don't even know the first round, but
no,
nonetheless,
exactly. I think it's really tough not to say Lakers Nets, but I don't see that even happening.
right?
But I'm really trying to think. I would
Yeah.
love to see Giannis get a ring.
Oof, I didn't think about that. Oh my God.
You know what?
What? What's your go-to? This is the matchup you want to see if you take the Knicks out of the equation.
This is very different.
Okay.
Clippers and Bucks.
Oh my God.
You got
Paul George looking for his first ring.
Kawhi.
Kawhi looking for his third ring, or no, third or fourth ring. Third ring with 3 teams.
Wow.
And then you got Giannis on the other side looking for his first. Chris Middleton there. But the story there would be Giannis. That's just, can he get his ring?
It would be really cool to see not his MVP campaign perform and dominate in the playoffs, and then not get that regular season MVP, but get that NBA Finals MVP.
Right. So if I were to put the Suns in the finals, I would love to see, obviously, Suns Knicks, what you said, but Suns Nets. Steve Nash against the Suns. Steve Nash, who never won a ring because of Kobe, pretty much, going back and playing the Suns in 2021. That would be unbelievable.
That'd be that's a 30 for 30 in the making.
I totally agree with you. Well said. And then if I took the Suns out of it, oh God! Now that you said Giannis, you're killing me. I'm gonna
How can you not root for Giannis?
I would love to see Giannis win a ring, but I'm gonna go a different route because you said that. Jimmy Butler leading the Heat after a terrible season. Jimmy Butler leading the Heat at a 4, 5, or 6 seed to the NBA Finals. And then out west facing no. Wait for it. Out west facing the Utah Jazz. Jazz Heat. A matchup no one really would expect. That would be an awesome matchup in my book. The media wouldn't like it because the media, who cares about Utah? But that would be an interesting match. Any of these matches would be interesting, but Suns Knicks, that's what we're rooting for. Suns Knicks.
Yeah.
Thibodeau against Monty. So
that'd be cool.
That wraps up the NBA episode. Next week, I think we're gonna go over the NFL schedule.
Come on, Giants Eagles week 1.
Everyone wants Giants Eagles week 1. I want Cardinals to win every game. That won't happen, but we'll go over the schedule next week and some of our predictions, maybe for the NFC or AFC games. It's been fun today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Actually, put in the YouTube chat which finals matchup you want to see as well.
So you got Thibodeau versus Monty, and who you want to see in the finals.
Yeah, those are 2 things you guys got to put in the chat. It's been really fun, and we'll see you guys again next week.
Take care.